Back everyone, let's get right into today's explainer. I want you to put your executive business hats on for this one because we're going to prove that some of the oldest folktales out there actually hold the most hard-hitting masterclasses on modern corporate compliance. We are looking at the true unvarnished costs of dishonesty, and we're doing it through the lens of a classic cautionary fable.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the merchant case study, move into short-term greed and long-term ruin, unpack the psychology of deceit, look at regulators and accountability, and finally, wrap up with protecting the modern whistleblower. All right, part 1, the merchant case study. To really kick off our analysis, we have to lay out the raw facts of the matter. This case involves two main players, a remarkably wealthy merchant and a poor but very honest laborer.
Now, this timeline clearly establishes our sequence of events. On day 1, our merchant loses a purse containing exactly 100 gold coins. On day 2, he publicly promises a 10-coin finder's fee to anyone who returns it. Day 3 rolls around, and an honest laborer actually brings the purse back. But here's the twist. The merchant lies. He claims the purse originally held 110 coins and aggressively accuses the laborer of stealing the difference. By day 4, they're standing in front of a judge. It's fascinating how a straightforward lost and found scenario can completely devolve into a calculated attempt to defraud.
I want you to really focus on this number, 10. The merchant decided to lie to avoid paying exactly this amount, a 10-coin reward. Let's put that into perspective. In modern business terms, that is a completely minor overhead cost. It's basically the equivalent of a modest catering budget for a Tuesday morning board meeting.
And then there's 100. This right here brilliantly illustrates the sheer absurdity of the merchant's risk. Think about it. To save that measly 10 coins, he jeopardized his core asset of 100 gold coins. He literally put his entire capital on the line simply because he wanted to dodge a minor, publicly stated commitment.
Which brings us right to Section 2, short-term greed, long-term ruin, or what I like to call the executive fallacy.
It's uncanny how perfectly this mirrors modern corporate scandals, isn't it? On one side, you have the short-term goal, avoid a minor payout. But on the other side, the actual outcome, total catastrophic loss of core assets and reputation. How often do we see executives prioritize marginal short-term gains, like, say, fighting quarterly profits or slicing safety budgets, only to trigger massive long-term ruin and inevitable bankruptcy? It's a timeless and frankly dangerous executive fallacy. By refusing to honor his public commitment, the merchant committed a fundamental breach of contractual integrity. He made the announcement, but the second the bill came due, he tried to back out. We see this all the time today. It's exactly what happens when companies renege on product warranties or suddenly cancel promised employee bonuses. All it really does is destroy the foundational business trust you need for healthy operations and stakeholder confidence.
Let's dig a little deeper into Section 3, the psychology of deceit. Let's analyze the trap he fell into.
You see, the merchant suffered heavily from something we can call greed-induced blindness. He became so hyper-fixated on saving those 10 coins that he entirely doomed the 100 coins. The greed quite literally created a massive blind spot in his strategic thinking.
Compounding this was cognitive tunneling. He tunneled in on the missing 10 and completely forgot to protect the 100. He couldn't see the massive environmental risk he was triggering by lying in a very public forum. His lie was actively creating the very legal reality that would strip him of his property, but he was entirely blind to it.
Moving along to Section 4, Regulators and Accountability. Enter the judge.
Judge Maryada Ramanna acts precisely like a modern regulatory body or judicial system intervening in corporate malfeasance. Think of him as the SEC or the FTC of this fable. Whenever a powerful entity lies to exploit a weaker one, the regulator inevitably steps in to balance the scales.
And watch how the judge handles this. It's brilliant. Ramanna doesn't argue. Instead, he uses Socratic logic to hold the merchant strictly accountable to his own fraudulent statements. He puts the merchant under oath, calmly accepts the 110-coin claim at face value, and then simply follows that lie all the way to its painful, necessary conclusion.
And here is the absolute kicker in the judge's ruling. Quote, "Since your lost purse contained exactly 110 coins, and this purse only contains 100 coins, it is clearly not yours." Unquote. The crucial point here is that regulators frequently use a company's own false records against them to levy heavy fines or strip them of their assets. The lie itself becomes the very weapon of their undoing.
I really want you to internalize this quote. In modern business, reputation is a currency. Once lost through deceit, the cost is often total. By falsely accusing the laborer, our merchant triggered a severe public relations crisis. He permanently destroyed his reputation and his wealth in one fell swoop.
This brings us to our final part, Section 5, Protecting the Modern Whistleblower, focusing on the laborer's plight.
When we map these story elements to modern corporate structures, the vulnerability of the honest actor is just so obvious. The laborer steps forward with integrity, much like a corporate whistleblower, only to face immediate, aggressive backlash. That false accusation of theft, that's the exact equivalent of workplace retaliation and scapegoating. And Ramanna is your independent compliance officer, stepping in to parse the actual truth.
Why did the merchant attack the laborer in the first place? Well, the retaliation was driven entirely by the merchant's desire to hide his financial liabilities and protect his profit margins. Let's be real, when whistleblowers are attacked in modern boardrooms, it is almost invariably to protect the bottom line from exposure.
And this is exactly why robust whistleblowing systems are absolutely critical. They require an impartial regulatory authority. They have to shield the reporter from unchecked power. They actually need financial bounties to offset the massive personal risk involved. And above all, they must strictly examine facts without bias. Ramanna's ultimate ruling, which let the laborer keep all 100 coins, highlights exactly why we need impartial protections and rewards that incentivize honesty while heavily penalizing corporate deceit.
The ultimate takeaway from this whole explainer is this idea of karmic symmetry. The merchant's lie became the legally binding reality he was forced to endure. He built a trap entirely out of his own deceit, and the judge simply locked the door behind him. Our words and our corporate policies build the world we eventually have to live in.
So as you head back to your boardrooms today, I want to leave you with a rather blunt question regarding your own corporate ethics and the true total cost of dishonesty. Are you building a world out of your own deceit? The next time you're tempted to prioritize a 10-coin saving over contractual integrity, remember the merchant. The price of that little lie might just be absolutely everything you own. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you all next time.
Stories like this reveal the truth about business, life, psychology, and human nature. Many more powerful stories are waiting for you on Creative Subbu YouTube channel.